Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today for this conversation. As we look at veteran hiring as an agenda across the board for corporate sector, today's discussion is going to focus on who are who are veterans, what kind of skill set experiences they bring into the private sector, and how we can absolutely leverage this talent pool to build a more inclusive, diverse workforce. My name is Rashmi Pathak. I'm CEO at ACOM and Diverse Prism. We proudly associate ourselves with military veterans and the veteran ecosystem, which is military wards, military spouses, and veteran community at large, to be able to support them with the meaningful employment and training opportunities. I also have Arjun Ram from our team here today, who also is a veteran. And we will be together taking you through different aspects of veteran hiring today. Before we get started, Arjun, if you could quickly introduce yourself and let's get started.
Thank you, Rashmi. I am Subedar Arjun Ram, an Armored Corps veteran with 30 years of experience in leadership, management, and operational experience. And currently, I am working with ECOM as an operation manager.
All right, let's get started. We've got a couple of slides here to just give a little bit of structure to the conversation. And as we look at different aspects, feel free to ask questions in the chat. You can also, raise your hand, and we would be picking up questions end of the session. So let's get started. Can you move to the next slide? All right. So when we talk about military veterans, it's very important to understand, and we've seen this gap in understanding at large. So it's very important to understand who are military veterans. How do we define this cohort? So think of it very simply put together. Anyone who has served in defense forces, tri-services, paramilitary forces, and has retired is considered a military veteran. They serve for different duration depending on the rank, depending on the level they are inducted in forces, and across the board different branches, different specializations kind of prepares them for their second stint in the corporate landscape. Again, something uh, that is very unique to this cohort. As we all know, it is a diverse talent pool that we are looking at. Diverse in the sense it belongs to different states, different landscape, region, languages, age, gender, as well as different technical, non-technical skill set that the folks bring in, right? So very quickly, I think if we look at what are the roles we would equate veteran talent with. One of the most frequently asked questions that we get from business teams and HR teams would be which are the segments, which are the sectors we can potentially attract this talent for. So, security administration are something like given. We all know from very long time people have been getting absorbed in these roles. Beyond that, we have to look at and understand that if I talk about our forces, it is a very good representation of a corporate, of a established organization uh, in a military setup. So whatever role you will have in a corporate, in a private sector organization, you will also have in our defense forces. Just the way, here maybe you are managing a product or services, while in military side it's more of equipment, more of maintenance, more of men management, training, specializations, and all of that. But the core domain and the work remains same. And the reason I say that is because I would appreciate and encourage all of you all to think beyond administrative work, beyond security for our forces. because there are people who are highly trained in technical as well as non-technical fields. There are people who can be excellent project managers, program managers, operations, supply chain management, logistics, inventory management. There's a whole core which is on medical side of it. So think of it, people who belong to the medical fraternity, definitely can help in pharma industry at large. There are folks who belong to aviation, who belong to marine, very easily can get absorbed in the similar sectors in the private sector side. So looking in all of that, there's a huge, I think, opportunity for us to leverage this talent, because these folks have not only worked in a specific field which is aligned to your industry, but also they bring in a very different perspective and experience because of their environment that they've operated in, which is very different from a typical private sector organization or setup. And that difference brings in that unique expertise, unique problem solving that you might want to leverage. Yeah. Yes. So here's what we're going to talk about necessarily is across Army, Navy, Air Force. What are the different industries and role fitment that we see across the board depending on different skill sets? I'd invite Arjun to take us through this really quickly. And if you have any questions around any specific area, we will be very happy to pick it up. Over to you, Arjun.
Okay, Rashmi. Rashmi, when people think of Army, Air Force, and Navy, generally they think about our courage, bravery, and discipline only. But the real thing is separate. Uh, Behind that, the army has when we use term military, military is consists of three major branches that is called tri-service, army, air force, and navy. And further, these branches are subdivided into many branches. For each and every branch has a specific role. तो लेट्स बिगिन विद द आर्मी. सबसे पहले हम आर्मी की बात करें तो आर्मी के अंदर सप्लाई चेन और लॉजिस्टिक्स का एक फुल प्रूफ सिस्टम होता है. तो आर्मी सर्विस कोर जो है सप्लाई चेन्स और लॉजिस्टिक्स को देखती है. जब हम स्टोर्स वगैरह है मैं कानूनी के अंदर एक जगह से दूसरी जगह व्हेन वी मूव फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर प्लेस अक्रॉस द कंट्री, तो ये जो लोग पर्सन्स होते हैं आर्मी सप्लाई कोर और आर्मी ऑर्गेनाइज कोर के, दे आर वेल ट्रेंड इन लॉजिस्टिक्स एंड सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट. दे आर आल्सो एक्सपर्ट इन वेंडर नेगोशिएशन, प्रोक्योरमेंट. इसी प्रकार जो हमारे जितने भी इक्विपमेंट्स वगैरह होते हैं उनको रिपेयर करने के लिए आर्मी की इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर ब्रांच है जिसको ईएमई बोलते हैं. दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर मेंटेनेंस एंड टेकिंग केयर ऑफ द इक्विपमेंट. उनके पास अपने बड़े बड़े लेवल के वर्कशॉप्स होते हैं. उनके पास अपने जो टेक्निकल एंट्री ऑफिसर होते हैं वो इंजीनियर होते हैं. और नीचे लेवल के अगर बजेशी और कम्युनिटी की बात करें तो वो जो फिटर होते हैं, मैकेनिक्स होते हैं, जो इनके आईटी इक्विपमेंट, रडार्स, हैवी टैंक्स, हैवी व्हीकल्स, इवन बफर स्टॉप वगैरह जो होती है उन सबको मेंटेन और उनको सर्विस करने के लिए, ओवरहॉलिंग करने के लिए हमारे पास टीम्स होती है. तो ये जो पर्सन है जो लॉजिस्टिक सप्लाई चेन के साथ साथ ये लोग जो ईएमई वाले लोग होते हैं ये मेंटेनेंस में भी ट्रेंड होते हैं. अलावा इसके हम अगर कोर ऑफ सिग्नल्स की बात करें तो सिग्नल्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर ओवरऑल नेटवर्किंग ड्यूरिंग पीस एंड वॉर. तो उनके पास सैटेलाइट नेटवर्किंग होती है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वॉरफेयर के इक्विपमेंट होते हैं, साथ ही साथ साइबर सिक्योरिटी में वो लोग वेल ट्रेंड होते हैं. तो ये जो स्किल सेट है ये कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर के साथ बहुत जगह अलाइन होता है. लेट्स टॉक ऑन नेवी. जब नेवी की बात करें, दिस पर्सन कॉल्ड शी वॉरियर्स. तो आप सभी जानते ही हैं इनके पास बड़े बड़े शिप्स होते हैं, सबमरीन्स होते हैं. साथ में ये लोग जो होते हैं अपने पोर्ट को मैनेजमेंट करने में, मैरीटाइम लॉजिस्टिक्स में माहिर होते हैं. इसके अलावा इनके पास जो नेवी के अंदर भी अलग अलग ब्रांचेज होती है, इंजीनियरिंग ब्रांच होती है, मैकेनिकल ब्रांच होती है, इनके अपनी कम्युनिकेशन नेविगेशन की अलग ब्रांचेज होती है. तो ये जो सारे पर्सन होते हैं ये अपने अपने स्पेसिफिक रोल में ट्रेंड होते हैं. और वो जो रोल है, वो जो स्किल सेट है, इट्स वेरी अलाइन विद कॉर्पोरेट मेनी जॉब्स. अगर हम एयरफोर्स की बात करें तो दिस इज द 100% टेक्निकल टैलेंट पूल. एयरफोर्स के पर्सनल जो होते हैं, अगर हम इसकी ब्रांचेज की सब ब्रांचेज की बात करें तो जैसे फ्लाइंग ब्रांच होती है, दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर ओवरऑल, दे मेंटेन, दे मैनेज द एयरपोर्ट्स आल्सो. इनके अपने खुद के पायलट्स होते हैं जो कि हेलीकॉप्टर पायलट हैं, फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट के पायलट होते हैं। अगर हम उसके नीचे जैसे हुआ कम्युनिटी की बात करें, तो वो जो जितने भी इनके पास सिस्टम्स होते हैं, ड्रोन सिस्टम होते हैं, रडार टेक्नोलॉजी होती है, उनके अपने अपने इंजीनियर होते हैं, एक्सपर्ट्स होते हैं। और ये एक्सपर्ट्स अपनी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन खुद ट्रेंड करते हैं। तो उनके पास एक ट्रेनिंग का भी बहुत अच्छा मॉड्यूल होता है, और वो ट्रेनिंग के फील्ड में भी माहिर होते हैं। अगर हम टेलीकॉम की बात करें, तो उसके अंदर भी ये लोग जो स्पेशल जो टेलीकम्युनिकेशन ट्रेड के मैकेनिक्स होते हैं, वो उनके पास बहुत अच्छा टैलेंट होता है, उनके पास स्किल होती है इतने सारे इक्विपमेंट को, यूएवी को है, सर्वेलेंस को करना है। तो जब हम इन इतनी स्किल की बात करते हैं, तो इनमें से बहुत सारी स्किल्स जो होती है, कॉर्पोरेट बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्री के साथ, बहुत सारे प्राइवेट सेक्टर रोल के साथ मैच होती है। और ये रेडीमेड टैलेंट पूल है, इनको हम बिल्कुल आराम से, आसानी से ट्रांजिशन करके कॉर्पोरेट के साथ बहुत अच्छा इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है। अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं वाई हायरिंग वेटरन्स मेक्स बिजनेस सेंस। तो जब आर्मी एयरफोर्स नेवी की बात करते हैं, तो ये जो आर्मी एयरफोर्स नेवी के वेटरन्स होते हैं, बहुत ही कम सर्विस में रिटायर होते हैं, और ये पैन इंडिया अवेलेबिलिटी है इनकी। हर स्टेट के अंदर, हर टीयर 1, टीयर 2, टीयर 3 सिटी तक भी अवेलेबल है। और वेटरन हायरिंग बहुत ही कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव है, और साथ ही एट्रिशन रेट बहुत कम होती है। और हम डाइवर्जन और डीआई इफेक्ट की बात करें, या सीएसआर गोल ट्रेन करना, सिंपली वेटरन हायरिंग एक डाइवर्सिटी हायरिंग का ही पार्ट है। Now, I would like to request Rashmi to express her thought on how ECOM support employees.
Thanks, Arjun.
Over to you, Rashmi.
Thanks, Arjun. So I think by now we have fair understanding of who veterans are, what skills they bring in, and what kind of roles. As Arjun pointed out, it's a highly diverse talent pool. So when someone asks me what roles, I think we have to ask ourselves as an organization, what roles can we offer to this pool? Because there's so much more these people have contributed to, and definitely a pool that is willing to continue to serve the nation after active service. And it's our responsibility as honest enterprises and citizens to be able to provide those opportunities. And with that same thought process, ACOM and the ecosystem, which consists of Diverse Prism also for specifically diversity hiring, focuses on bringing the talent as well as organizations together to be able to fulfill the requirement that the organization has for veterans. We have dedicated hiring platform for military veterans, wherein as an HR or a business person, you can post your job and attract the right talent for your roles. It's a highly economical way of hiring, with the starting very low, as low as about 1,000 rupees per month, and which gives you an opportunity to experience and experiment with this talent pool and really look at what kind of roles you can offer. Our placement services with Diverse Prism focuses specifically on women hiring, going beyond women talent pool, executive hiring, but also looking at military spouses, which is again another very good, diverse talent pool, that we definitely want to tap onto. Veer Naris who are ward widows, then wards of military veterans. These are the pools that are part of the extended military ecosystem that we do support. So any requirement where you believe you would want to tap onto this talent is something that we can absolutely partner on. And do visit our site to look at the current offers and what's running to be able to leverage same. So Beyond hiring veterans, it's very important as corporates to understand that integrating veterans in their ecosystem is equally our responsibility and a very important aspect. Because the job doesn't end by just hiring a veteran and placing them in, one department of your organization. It's about creating an ecosystem which helps them uh, find their sweet spot after the active service. So a structured onboarding process, a buddy program or an ally program definitely helps them settle in smoothly. And because this pool is coming from a very different organization than how corporates are typically set up, which is more fluid, much more, sometimes the chain of command is not really necessarily followed, which is more collaborative in a way that we operate. So, for them to be able to understand and appreciate that, it's important that we invest time in training them and making them understand the corporate culture, system, tools, ways of working, and how to navigate the system once you're part of it. So I think all of that, if thought through and put some structure to it, really makes a lot of difference. And not only in hiring, but also ensuring that the veteran that you've got into your system is successful. And that will then translate in terms of, as an organization, you to be able to attract more of similar talent, right? So the buck doesn't stop there, and it's very important aspect. We as an organization take pride in supporting organizations setting up their veteran programs, their diversity programs as well, along with sensitization sessions, which are required for hiring managers or recruitment teams to be able to effectively evaluate and hire this talent pool. So if you see a need in your organization for those things as well, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to support. Right. That's all that we had for today. I will flip it over to Suniti in terms of the next steps.
Thank you, Rashmi, Arjun, and everyone for being a part of today's session. I'm confident that today's discussion has helped clear many of the common misconceptions about military veterans, and together we can contribute to making the second inning in the corporate world more smoother and successful. We received several questions during registration and a few during the live session. I'll start with those. And if you have any additional questions, please feel free to raise your hands or drop them in the chat. We'll try to cover as many as possible. So the first question is, uh, are military veterans rigid and less adaptive to multi-generational or corporate culture?
Oh, that's a great question, honestly. And something absolutely to think about. But are they rigid? The answer is no. Are they not adaptable? The answer is no. I think the beauty of this talent pool is, given they come from such diverse backgrounds and they get posted in such diverse, different, difficult terrains, they serve an environment that we can't even think of, makes them highly adaptable in my mind. Okay. So yes, they are adaptable, but understand the setup they are coming from is very different from a typical private sector setup. So it's the difference that might overwhelm someone rather than someone not being comfortable with it. And that is, I feel, not just for veterans, but for anyone who is making that transition. If we move from one company to another, there is always a change of hands. There's always a change of culture that we as an employee, as a new hire, will feel. The same goes for veterans. And that's why I think when we were discussing in the session, we also kind of spent some time on why learning about corporate culture is important, why that integration process is important. So I think if a corporate is spending time in building, curating that, it would not be seen as a challenge. And definitely it would be something that veterans will seamlessly transition and settle in. Um, Working with multi-generational workforce, again, it is something that not only veterans, but everyone, anyone, any professional will face or feel. So I think it's very person dependent also. But I think it's an exciting space to work in when three or four different generations work together. I think barring alphas, everyone's working, which is fantastic. So it's I think a good exciting space. And as you maneuver through the system, as you interact with the different temperaments, different personalities, it only shapes your personality in a better way, and it only helps you navigate the system better. So, yep, that's my take on it.
Okay. So the second question that we have is, apart from security roles, what roles are veteran best suited for?
Yeah, I think we discussed this in very detail in the conversation before also. Security admin given, because that is something across the board people do. There would be some very generic work that anyone and everyone can do. But beyond that, as we looked at Army, Navy, Air Force, there would be technical, non-technical roles people are fit for. There would be engineering roles, there would be aviation, there would be marine specific work that people can do, which is very specific to each of these arts. Apart from that, looking at supply chain as a industry definitely has manufacturing infra. That is definitely something can be looked at. Project management, operations, program management, I think cuts across industries. So HR, because obviously these people manage men to a great degree, and it's something that many do from very, very early in their careers. So they make fantastic HR professionals also. So yeah, I think there's a variety of role people can do depending on their training, depending on their inclination, and also the kind of personality they bring into the work.
The next question that we have is, how do we see the employability of military spouses considering their disrupted career journey due to the frequent posting?
Yeah, I think another great question and something very, very close to my heart. Military spouses are like the warriors behind warriors, and you cannot take away the kind of sacrifice, the kind of resilience this pool shows, no matter what. It's not easy, staying in a remote place with a small kid, or even if it's no kid, just staying in a remote place with very limited resources, and making a life out of it. With the advent of internet, obviously a lot of remote opportunities come into place, which is fantastic. But still, I feel a majority of this pool kind of at some stage or other um, uh, gets in that space where they have to either prioritize their family or career, and in that push and pull equation, sometimes career is left behind, right? What we are trying to do here is to be able to bring back this work to an active workforce, because we have some very talented ladies definitely wanting to work. It's just that they don't have view to the roles that might be there for them. And corporates who want to hire this pool do not have view to this talent pool. So we are here bridging that gap, trying to see the roles that that can be best suited for them, because they make some fantastic product managers, program managers, content writers, teachers, doctors, you name it. I think all the professionals, I know many ladies who worked extensively before marriage and after marriage. They continued, and then some continued, some got disrupted because of the different postings and everything. But yeah, I think there are lot of roles that potentially can be looked at for this specific talent pool, and again, a highly overlooked pool, and we must, as responsible corporates, look at absorbing more and more of such talent. I'm proud to have Suniti, who's a military spouse, with us. I myself a proud military spouse. So yeah, absolutely. We will do everything to be able to make opportunities available to this pool, and I'm super confident that we have many, many very talented ladies who will be part of it and make fantastic career out of it.
The next is, given the typical retirement age, how can veteran contribute in their second innings?
See, and this is where maximum corporates, kind of don't have it clear. Retirement should not be associated with a specific age when people don't want to work, which is a typical mentality. And it's how the word retirement is defined also maybe, but that's now not what it is when it comes to our forces. There are people who retire in their early 30s, mid 40s, then 50s, right? And then all of these people in different spaces will be suitable for different kind of roles, especially for folks who are voluntarily leaving forces to pursue career outside. Definitely with 10 to 15, 20 years of experience from forces, they make a very good talent pool for their second innings, and very much in market to be able to explore and find the second role that they want to contribute to. So yes, in this case, retirement should not be associated with someone who is just not willing to work. That's not the case. Majority do want to work, and they are very much in their professional journey to be able to do that. And I think a very exciting phase, because you get to do something very disruptive after serving the nation for say 15, 20 years.
And the last question that we have for today's session is, what level do veterans typically get hired at in the private sector?
Yeah, I think across the board, across the levels, I would say, because when you talk about people below officer rank, uh, and officers, there are different kind of roles that can be pegged, depending on the talent pool. Some high potential individuals, they can definitely look at highly aspirational roles also. But we are looking at mid managerial to executive level roles, while officers maybe or high potential JCOs, NCOs can be considered for senior roles. Then there are also people that could be very much suitable for mid managerial level. So that's the reason I think the fungibility and the availability of this talent across India makes it something absolutely every growing organization must look at, because we are talking about a pool that's not only available in the location that you want, but also should be able to fulfill roles across levels that we are looking at. So yeah, I think that's how we'd like to put it.
And that's the end of the questions that we have.
Oh, wonderful. So I think that's about it today. If there are more questions that come after the session, or if something in a positive time we've not been able to take up today, we would definitely be happy to pick it up and revert to folks after the session. So thank you so much for making time for the conversation today. It's been wonderful, and we look forward to the next session soon. Thank you so much.